Okay, the first test we have here is for the 50mm. It's an EF lens that's adapted to the micro four thirds with a speed booster, and you're viewing it with the Sankor Anamorphic Adapter. This is a 2x squeeze. Next we have just more footage here, just with the camera moving. Now this is the same 50mm lens with a speed booster, now with a generic 1.25 anamorphic adapter. These are very similar to like your SLR Magic adapter. Well, that one's more of a 1.33, but still it's not the same as a real anamorphic lens. This is the Lumix X 12.35 at 12mm. The zoom you're seeing there is actually in post. That's to remove the lens barrel that you're seeing. This is at 28mm. Sorry, it wasn't much longer of a test on this focal length. Next you have is the Lumix 45 to 150mm. This is at about 50mm. I have to say, you're starting to get to a point where you don't need to zoom in to remove the barrel in the image, because it actually doesn't show up. You're already zoomed in enough. And this will become more apparent now that we're at about 65mm, and that's at an f.8 aperture. And we move up to about 85mm, which in terms of sharpness I felt this was like the best focal length. Then you up to 100mm. So you start to notice a little bit more blurring. And then at 150mm you can see it's pretty blurred out. I try to get the focus racked up pretty well, but I couldn't. Now there's just a bunch of flare tests. This is the whole point of having anamorphic lenses, the flares. So this is at 45mm focal length, f8, and this is at f22. And then I ran the test again with ND filters at an f.45 aperture. And then the very last test is basically 45mm from closed aperture at f22, and then fully open at f3.5. And I just kind of change every 2 seconds, every stop. And I would have to say, doing this test, ideally, if you want to be sharp and also have flares, you should hover between an f4 to about an f6.3. Based on the test footage, it appears that 85mm seems to be the best for micro four thirds mount as far as focal lengths are concerned. If you have a bigger sensor like APS-C or full frame, you might want something more zoomed in to make sure you eliminate the barrel in your image so you don't have to fix it in post. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope this video helps.